Welcome back to the deep dive. If you're like us, you're constantly, just bombarded with advice on how to optimize your health. Fast longer, lift heavier, meditate deeper.
It's everywhere.
But what if the most critical factor in achieving true long-term well-being isn't found in a pill bottle or some sophisticated lab test?
That's the core tension we're tackling today. This deep dive is custom built for you, the learner, who really needs a structured and synthesized path through this, let's be honest, often overwhelming world of biohacking and longevity.
Right.
We're moving beyond the simple what to do and delving deep into the why it works. And we're drawing insights from leading neuroscientists, metabolic specialists, and behavioral researchers.
Our mission today is to provide you with those critical leverage points. We're starting in the engine room, optimizing your core biology, the gut, the metabolism, before we move on to stabilize the nervous system.
And this is perhaps the most surprising part, we'll analyze how the quality of your social life literally determines how long and how well you live.
It's an incredible link.
It's a compelling argument that we need to stop thinking about longevity as just a series of, disconnected physical hacks. When we look at the source material, the experts, people like Dave Asprey, Dr. Matt Walker, and the Harvard researchers Robert Waldinger and Mark Schultz, they're all pointing to the same conclusion.
Which is?
That everything is integrated. Your inflammation, your sleep, your friendships, they are all inextricably linked.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the engine room itself. Metabolic mastery.
When we talk about optimizing the engine, we have to discuss the body's innate cleaning and repair cycle, which is, it's best initiated through strategic fasting.
And no one has popularized this concept more effectively than Dave Asprey.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I mean, we've all been introduced to the standard 16-hour overnight fast, which is perfectly reasonable for, say, daily maintenance.
It is. It's good housekeeping.
But, as Dave Asprey notes, that 16-hour window is primarily just burning through the residual glucose, the sugar stores in your liver. It's metabolic housekeeping, but it's not renovation.
Not deep renovation, no. For true cellular renovation, we need to push past that conventional boundary. Dave Asprey emphatically recommends the 72-hour fast.
3 full days.
3 days. That duration is what's truly required to flip the deep anti-aging switch, moving the body from glucose dependence to a full-scale fat-burning or ketogenic state.
And what are the critical biological benefits that only truly kick in after that, say, 48 or 72-hour mark? I mean, what's the real prize here?
The benefits are profound. The most critical one is the maximization of autophagy.
Autophagy.
Think of autophagy as the body's highly efficient internal recycling program. By day 3 of fasting, your body is no longer just looking for quick fuel. It's actively tearing down the old, damaged, or even potentially cancerous components of your cells, the rusted parts of the engine, so to speak.
And using them for fuel.
And using those salvaged materials to build back newer, stronger, and more functional cellular components.
So it's literally self-cannibalization, but in the best possible way. And I assume this prolonged state also radically lowers insulin and chronic inflammation.
It does. And crucially, it leads to a surge in growth hormone.
Right, that growth hormone spike. That's exactly right. And it's why we must already be thinking about the recovery period. This is where we see the first real synergy in our source material.
It is. The deep fasting advocated by Dave Asprey maximizes this powerful repair hormone.
But if you starve your body of the building blocks during the recovery phase, you won't maximize the repair. This is precisely why Dom D'Agostino stresses high protein in the refeeding phase, isn't it?
Exactly. To feed that massive growth hormone spike and ensure the body repairs itself with muscle and healthy tissue, not just fat.
That's the true aha moment. The protocols have to work together. But let's not gloss over the sheer difficulty of a 72-hour fast. From a human standpoint, that sounds like 3 days of just misery.
It does. It sounds awful.
Does Dave Asprey offer a strategy for managing that initial hurdle?
He does, and the strategy is, to cheat. But strategically.
I like the sound of that.
Since the aim is metabolic flexibility shifting the fuel source, Dave Asprey suggests artificially boosting ketones to bypass that awful initial sugar withdrawal.
How does he suggest doing that?
He advises using specific healthy fats, like a bit of butter or MCT oil in your coffee, or even ketone salts. By giving the brain a clean, alternative fuel source right at the start, you soften that catastrophic energy dip that typically accompanies sugar withdrawal.
His personal account of this process is quite vivid, particularly regarding the mood swings on day 1.
Yes. Dave Asprey uses a very visceral, almost shocking phrase to describe the feeling of that sugar withdrawal phase.
What does he call it?
He experiences what he calls a high pig live bitchy mood.
Wow.
It's a deep acknowledgement of the biological fight the body puts up when transitioning away from its preferred fuel source. But he stresses that the shift by day 2 is transformative.
And by day 3?
By day 3, the magic peaks. You are no longer hungry because your body is running on its own abundant internal fuel reserves, and your brain operates with this incredible, steady focus. It's no longer preoccupied with the complex digestive process.
That is a masterclass in metabolic flexibility. But optimizing the engine isn't just about fuel delivery, it's about the supporting cast, mainly the gut. And we have fascinating, almost contrarian advice here from Dr. Justin Sonnenburg.
Dr. Justin Sonnenburg, a renowned microbiologist, gives us a very specific and targeted prescription. Consume 6 servings of fermented foods daily.
6 servings, that's a lot.
It is. And it immediately challenges the conventional wisdom that says if you want a healthy gut, you simply must pile on the fiber.
That's the critical distinction, isn't it? Why is Justin Sonnenburg prioritizing fermentation? The yogurt, the kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, over just pure fiber intake? It seems counterintuitive.
His rationale is grounded in a crucial clinical study. They compared grooves on a high-fiber diet versus those on a high-fermented food diet. The results cited by Dr. Sonnenburg showed unequivocally that the fermented food group had superior outcomes.
In what way?
They saw a robust increase in microbiota diversity and a measurable decrease in 19 different inflammatory markers,
ID.
including the potent cytokine interleukin-6, which is strongly associated with chronic disease and, of course, aging.
So the high fermented group achieved clear, quantifiable anti-inflammatory benefits. But why did the high fiber group struggle to catch up? I mean, fiber is supposed to be a fertilizer for the gut, right?
This is the vital insight that Dr. Justin Sonnenburg brings to light. The high fiber group often struggled because their existing microbiomes were too depleted.
So they didn't have the workers to use the fertilizer.
Precisely. As he explains, if you don't have enough workers in the garden, pouring excessive fertilizer, which is what high fiber essentially is, onto the soil doesn't help. It can actually cause distress, bloating, and gas.
So what's his approach?
Justin Sonnenberg's approach is sequential. You must first plant the garden with the diverse strains found in fermented foods, and only then will feeding the garden with fiber become truly effective.
Plant the garden first. That's an elegant, pragmatic approach. Now let's return to the fuel line with Dom D'Agostino, PhD, who offers a very specific dietary structure that deviates from traditional keto thinking.
Yes, Dr. D'Agostino is a leading authority on the ketogenic diet, and he advocates for a high-protein ketogenic approach. This is critical because when most people hear keto, they think of the very traditional, low-protein, high-fat diet used historically for epilepsy management.
Right, the clinical version.
Exactly. For general health and performance, Dom D'Agostino stresses that protein intake must be substantially higher, ideally around 20 to 30% of total calories.
But wait, this presents a direct challenge to a lot of metabolic theory. Doesn't maximizing protein intake run the risk of kicking you out of ketosis via gluconeogenesis?
Where the body converts excess amino acids into glucose, yes.
So how does D'Agostino reconcile maximizing muscle growth with maintaining a fat-burning state?
That is the right question to ask. And Dom D'Agostino's research shows that for healthy, active individuals, the fear of gluconeogenesis is largely overstated.
Really?
The body is highly efficient at using amino acids for necessary structural repair and muscle maintenance before it ever considers converting them to glucose. The real imperative for D'Agostino is muscle mass.
So he's less worried about a tiny bit of glucose and more worried about losing muscle.
Far more. He rightly points out that sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle, is a chief predictor of poor health and reduced longevity. Muscle is the body's metabolic determinant, and you simply cannot afford to lose it as you age.
And we know this isn't just theory for Dom D'Agostino. He learned this lesson through, well, painful personal experimentation.
He did. He shares a great anecdote about his initial mistake. When he first started on a clinical ketogenic diet, he restricted protein severely.
And what happened?
The consequence was direct and immediate. He lost strength on his bench press, a tangible, undeniable sign that his body was sacrificing functional muscle mass.
So he corrected course.
He corrected it drastically. He increased his intake and now consumes up to 220 grams of protein daily, tailored to his high activity level. This personal pivot really validates his professional advice. The performance-focused version of keto must prioritize protein for muscle maintenance and longevity.
The message is clear. The engine needs both clean fuel and the right building blocks. If we've optimized the internal hardware with Dave Asprey's autophagy, Sonnenburg's gut plants, and D'Agostino's high protein, we now must look at the recovery system,
The part that manages stress and rebuilds the machine.
which brings us to sleep and nervous system mastery.
This section shifts our focus from biochemistry to, I suppose, structural and neurological engineering. And we start with a solution to sleep disruption that seems to come entirely out of left field, courtesy of Brandon Harris.
It truly does. Brandon Harris's core advice is to train your jaw muscles, specifically the masseter, using a resistance device. We are talking about biohacking sleep quality through weightlifting for your face.
It sounds eccentric, I know. But the mechanism is powerful.
What exactly is the mechanism?
The mechanism addresses structural weakness. As Brandon Harris explains, the goal of strengthening the masseter and pterygoid muscles is to improve jaw alignment and its forward positioning.
Okay.
When these muscles are weak or fatigued, the lower jaw, the mandible, and the tongue are more prone to falling back into the airway during deep sleep.
And this is what causes problems.
It exacerbates two major sleep disruptors: teeth grinding, or bruxism, and the potentially dangerous collapse of the airway known as sleep apnea.
So by creating a physically stronger supporting structure, you prevent that posterior displacement, thus keeping the airway open all night.
Precisely. And the anecdotal evidence Brandon Harris provides is extremely compelling. He recounts his own personal journey.
What happened with him?
He suffered from sleep apnea symptoms, and he found that strengthening his jaw muscles completely eliminated those symptoms. His own physician attributed the relief directly to the newfound strength of his lower jaw.
That's incredible. And we also see some small-scale clinical support for this, particularly regarding teeth grinding.
Yes, Brandon Harris cites a small study where 9 out of 10 participants reported immediate relief from bruxism symptoms.
9 out of 10.
It highlights that jaw training isn't just some niche idea. It's a targeted structural intervention for common debilitating sleep problems that are often treated with expensive, complex CPAP machines or, mouth guards.
Moving from structural exercise to neurological engineering, we now look at perhaps the most potent tool for regulating modern stress: the vagus nerve, as discussed by John Hacker.
John Hacker's work centers on targeted vagus nerve stimulation, or VNS. The core concept is using precise, low-intensity ultrasound delivered to the auricular branch of the vagus nerve, which is easily accessible in the ear.
And the goal?
The deliberate goal is to shift your nervous system state on demand.
That ability to shift state is, it's essential, given the perpetual on switch of modern life. What is the mechanism that John Hacker is leveraging to achieve this shift?
We are effectively training the nervous system to pump the brakes. The sympathetic nervous system is the accelerator fight or flight.
Right.
The vagus nerve is the critical component of the parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest. By stimulating it repeatedly, we strengthen its tone via Hebbian learning.
Neurons that fire together wire together.
You remember the phrase. John Hacker is essentially teaching your nervous system how to access the calm parasympathetic state more efficiently, making you biologically more resilient to daily stressors.
And John Hacker's personal experience with this technology provides a powerful, immediate proof of concept, especially given the high-stress environment he found himself in.
It's a fantastic story. John Hacker shared that he experienced 2 full-blown panic attacks while attending a biohacking conference.
The irony.
The irony is not lost on us, no. But in both instances, he was able to immediately utilize his ultrasound device, the Zen Bud, to bring himself back to center.
So he aborted the panic attacks.
He did. The ability to do that through targeted neurological control is a powerful demonstration of VNS's potential.
Now, John Hacker's company reports highly encouraging clinical results, a 78% remission rate for anxiety, which sounds phenomenal. But we should probably address this with the sense of critical analysis.
Absolutely. While that 78% remission rate for anxiety, as reported by John Hacker's company, is exciting for you, our learner, it's vital we frame that data responsibly.
What do you mean?
When dealing with complex conditions like anxiety, this specific clinical data needs to be seen in the context of what it is. Company-reported findings. Larger, long-term, double-blind trials remain the gold standard when assessing the general efficacy of any anxiety treatment, pharmacological or otherwise.
A balanced perspective is essential.
But the personalized control John Hacker demonstrated certainly points toward a highly promising therapeutic avenue for self-regulation.
Right. Now, let's close the loop between the nervous system and the metabolic engine. by reintroducing Dr. Matt Walker and Dr. Eddie Ben-Simon, who studied the critical gut-sleep axis.
Their research highlights the profound two-way street between the gut and sleep. The core finding from Dr. Walker and Dr. Ben-Simon is that poor sleep directly and negatively shifts the microbiome.
But the reverse is also true.
Yes, a diverse diet and a healthy gut profile can, conversely, significantly aid in sleep quality.
The speed at which sleep deprivation starts causing real biochemical damage is what I found staggering in the study they cited.
Yes, the specific 2022 study cited by Dr. Matt Walker and Dr. Eddie Ben-Simon gives us that chilling specificity. They found that just 2 nights of sleep deprivation were enough to cause a measurable negative imbalance in the gut.
Only 2 nights.
Specifically, they noted a dramatic decrease in beneficial lactobacillus strains. Those are the foundational friendly bacteria often linked to mood regulation and immune health.
And at the same time.
Simultaneously, they saw an increase in strains associated with depression.
So if I'm not a microbiologist, what exactly does a decrease in lactobacillus mean for me? Is that just a fancy name, or is that linked directly to my mood and energy?
It's absolutely linked to your mood. Lactobacillus species are essential in communicating with the brain, influencing neurotransmitter production. Losing them means losing part of your support structure for mental resilience and mood stability.
So this study shows that you don't even need chronic sleep deprivation. Just 48 hours is enough to start seeing these negative biochemical changes.
Exactly. Changes that mimic the state associated with mood disorders. It's a stark warning for those who consistently sacrifice sleep for work or leisure.
It really is.
Indeed. Although Dr. Walker and Dr. Ben-Simon did note a slight, fascinating observation regarding resilience, the microbiome actually showed significant stability after only 1 night of lost sleep. This tells us that your body can handle an occasional blip.
But it's the compounding effect that's the problem.
The compounding effect of even a brief 2-night bout of poor sleep is what truly starts to undermine the foundational resilience of the gut-brain axis. Sleep must be non-negotiable.
We've optimized the internal landscape metabolism, structure, nervous system stability. But the deepest, longest-running study on longevity suggests that the most powerful medicine of all is external.
Found entirely within your relationships.
Which brings us to the social prescription.
If the first 2 sections were about optimizing the machine, this section is about optimizing the environment in which the machine operates. We move to the domain of mental and relational health, beginning with the astonishing physical power of kindness, as researched by Dr. David Hamilton.
Dr. David Hamilton's core tip is wonderfully simple. Practice kindness, not just because it's virtuous, but because it is a powerful health intervention.
It is.
He champions the release of oxytocin, which he affectionately terms the kindness hormone.
And this hormone isn't merely a transient mood booster. Dr. Hamilton details its profound biological benefits. Oxytocin is cardioprotective. It actively works to lower blood pressure, and perhaps most importantly, in the context of aging, it reduces oxidative stress at the cellular level.
So kindness acts as an endogenous anti-aging compound.
In essence, yes. And the evidence for this is absolutely fascinating, particularly the phenomenon known as the Mother Teresa effect, which Dr. David Hamilton frequently cites.
Explain that one. It sounds incredible.
That study is remarkable because it proves that you don't even have to be the giver or the receiver of the kind act to benefit.
So just witnessing it is enough.
Just witnessing it. Students who merely watched a video of Mother Teresa caring for the sick experienced a 50% spike in salivary immunoglobulin A, or SIGE.
And for those unfamiliar, what is SIGA and why is a 50% spike so significant?
SIGA is a critical antibody in your mucosal immune system. It's the first line of defense against airborne pathogens and gut threats.
So that's like your frontline immune defense.
It is. And a 50% spike, triggered simply by witnessing compassion, means their immune system was measurably boosted by an emotional input. This shows the astonishing physical consequence of empathy, as documented in Dr. David Hamilton's sources.
And Dr. Hamilton brings the concept even closer to home, noting the effect of empathy within the healthcare setting itself.
Yes. The parallel finding he cites is that patients who rated their doctor as highly empathetic had an immune response that was 50% higher than those who felt their doctor lacked empathy.
Wow.
This fundamentally reframes empathy, moving it from a soft skill to a measurable component of healing and physical resilience.
If kindness is cardioprotective, then the scaffolding of our relationships is truly the foundation of a long life. This brings us to the definitive work of Robert Waldinger and Mark Schultz,
the overseers of the longest study of human life ever conducted,
the Harvard study of adult development.
This research, which has tracked individuals for over 80 years, is arguably the most foundational insight of this entire deep dive. Waldinger and Schultz distilled their core tip into a powerful mandate: invest in social fitness.
This is the metric that should make every learner pause and immediately reevaluate their priorities. The central finding is genuinely astonishing.
It is the undisputed central truth of their work. Robert Waldinger and Mark Schultz found that the quality of your close relationships is a stronger predictor of longevity, physical health, and lifelong happiness than any traditional metric.
Stronger than cholesterol, career, genetics.
Stronger than all of them. Cholesterol levels, career success, genetics, diet, or routine exercise. Your social connections, the quality of your daily interactions, literally matter more than the state of your arteries.
That reframes the entire concept of health. It moves it away from purely biomedical outputs and into relational depth. So what is the minimum required level of investment to achieve this critical social fitness, according to Waldinger and Schultz?
They define a threshold. Everyone needs at least one or two securely attached relationships.
And what does that mean, securely attached?
These aren't just acquaintances. These are the people you absolutely know. Without reservation, you could call in the middle of the night if you were sick or scared. It is the reliability and depth of these core connections, the psychological safety they provide, that acts as a constant buffer against the inevitable stresses of life.
Given that social connection is the strongest predictor of health, how do we practically go about improving that network? We can't just hope better friends show up.
No, you have to be strategic.
And Radha Agrawal provides a fantastic practical tool for this: the community audit.
Radha Agrawal's approach is so structured and actionable. She advises you to list the 10 people you spend the most time with and then color code them.
How so?
Green for energy givers, people who leave you feeling inspired and energized, and red for energy drainers, people who leave you feeling anxious or depleted. It provides an immediate visual assessment of your relational equity.
And she stresses the critical first step must be inward, creating a VIA chart: values, interests, abilities, to understand yourself before seeking external connections.
The essential go in to go out philosophy.
Right.
You cannot build a strong community if you don't know what you fundamentally value. And Radha Agrawal emphasizes the importance of alignment through her own highly motivating epiphany. She shared that upon turning 30, she realized her social life felt fundamentally disconnected from her true self.
Where was she spending her time?
She was spending her weekends in sports bars, drinking beer she didn't even enjoy, simply conforming to the values of her immediate circle.
That's a powerful realization.
This forced community audit was her catalyst. It prompted her to build the Daybreaker community, an international organization centered around shared positive values like movement and connection. Her experience shows that sometimes the most profound longevity hack is simply auditing and strategically replacing who you spend your Tuesdays with.
That's a phenomenal synthesis. We've gone from metabolic clarity and nervous system stability to the social foundation of life. Now let's pivot from auditing external connections to mastering internal focus and discipline, which is paramount in our age of digital overload.
To maintain the high level of performance and mental bandwidth needed to invest in our social lives, we must first address the modern world's greatest inhibitor of focus: the smartphone.
Oh, yes.
And Catherine Price has developed a pragmatic framework for digital hygiene.
Her goal is to disrupt the Pavlovian response, that instant reach for the phone driven by anxiety or boredom. She suggests starting with a simple physical hack.
The rubber band.
Putting a rubber band around your phone. That physical obstruction is just enough to interrupt the subconscious automatic loop.
And during that necessary pause, she advises invoking the powerful WWW framework. Before engaging the device, you must ask 3 questions.
What for? Why now? And what else?
This framework forces intentionality. The what forces you to state your goal. The why now challenges the urgency. Is this actually time-sensitive, or is it driven by anxiety?
And the what else?
It prompts you to consider a more beneficial, non-screen-related activity. This whole intervention disrupts the autopilot habit. And Catherine Price's personal epiphany for creating the system is incredibly poignant and relatable.
It's a genuinely moving story of lost connection.
It is. Catherine Price recounts being up late, feeding her baby daughter. Her baby was gazing directly at her, seeking connection and contact.
But she was on her phone.
She realized she was intensely scrolling on her phone, researching doorknobs for a home renovation project that was already complete.
Oh, wow.
That moment, prioritizing a finished renovation over connection with her child, crystallized for her the insidious, distraction-driven nature of phone addiction and the need for immediate structured intervention.
That awareness is essential. Moving from breaking bad habits to building new skills, we return to Dr. David Hamilton, who provides a refined strategy for using visualization to acquire physical skills.
This delves into the subtleties of neuroplasticity. Dr. Hamilton's core tip is that when visualizing, you must focus not merely on the visual outcome, seeing the tennis ball hit the line, on the physical sensations in your body.
What we call proprioception.
Proprioception, yes. The key is visualization from the inside out. You must feel the subtle shifts in muscle tension, the exact weight distribution, the trajectory of the movement through your sensory awareness.
And he also stresses the importance of combining this with action observation, repetitively watching perfect execution of the skill.
Action observation, as explained by Dr. Hamilton, helps build a robust mental map or a motor program of the skill being performed correctly. Your brain can then use this mental representation as a blueprint for physical replication.
And his personal experiment using this technique is, well, it's genuinely legendary in the field of cognitive training. Tell us about Dr. David Hamilton's transformation from being a bottom-tier tennis player to a champion using only his mind.
It's an incredible story. Dr. Hamilton was the second worst player in his entire tennis league. He committed himself to an intense, focused mental training regimen.
What did he do?
He watched a video of professional tennis player Andy Murray executing the perfect serve 3,000 times, breaking it down to 100 times a day for 30 days.
Just watching.
And simultaneously, he visualized the proprioceptive experience of the serve, the feeling of the rotation, the muscle tension, the weight shift. The result was nothing short of miraculous.
He won his league.
He won his league division without dropping a single set. It just proves the extraordinary power of consistent, focused mental practice to physically rewire performance.
A phenomenal cognitive edge achieved through mental discipline. Now, speaking of mental training, let's revisit Dr. Matt Walker to discuss the deep connection between sleep, specifically REM sleep, and creative problem solving.
Dr. Matt Walker's tip is straightforward. When you encounter a complex problem, deliberately sleep on it. He explains that REM sleep, the stage characterized by vivid dreaming, acts as informational alchemy.
Informational alchemy, I like that.
It's the only state where the brain actively fuses previously unrelated or disparate concepts and memories to generate novel solutions.
So if you're stuck on a professional or creative challenge, the best thing you can do is expose your brain to all the relevant data and then just step away and allow the subconscious engine of REM sleep to take over.
That's exactly right. The brain runs complex simulations during REM, testing and validating connections that your conscious, logical mind might overlook due to its rigid structure. Dr. Walker illustrates this perfectly with the famous and highly relatable story of Keith Richards.
The genesis of the Rolling Stones' iconic riff.
Indeed. Dr. Matt Walker recounts the famous anecdote. Keith Richards kept a guitar and a tape recorder by his bedside. He woke up one night, recorded the opening riff of "I Can't Get No Satisfaction," and immediately fell back asleep.
Completely unaware of what he'd done.
Completely unaware. When he played the tape back later, it contained the iconic riff, followed by 43 minutes of snoring. This perfectly illustrates that the genuine creative breakthrough, the fusion of unrelated ideas, occurred during that liminal sleepy state, likely driven by intense REM processing.
Allowing the subconscious to do the heavy lifting. Finally, we must discuss the bedrock necessary to maintain all these high-performance habits. Discipline and non-negotiable routine as championed by choreographer Twyla Tharp.
Twyla Tharp's philosophy is rooted in removing decision fatigue. She argues for building unbreakable rituals that eliminate the constant choice required to start difficult or creative work.
So if you wake up and have to decide whether to exercise or whether to write, you've already lost.
You have. It must simply be a reality.
And to maintain that reality, she stresses the need for a singular intention, the spine, to keep large, often meandering creative projects on track.
The spine is that core focus. It's the central organizing idea or project that ensures all peripheral creative or logistical work remains aligned. Without a clear spine, Twyla Tharp warns, we descend into endless distraction and inefficiency, frittering away the energy we desperately need for deep work.
Her personal adherence to this philosophy is perhaps the most powerful example of raw discipline in our sources.
It speaks to commitment over momentary pleasure. Twyla Tharp adheres to a highly rigorous personal ritual. She wakes up every morning at 5:30 a.m. to go to the gym for 2 hours.
Every single morning.
And here's the key detail for the learner. She explicitly notes that she never enjoyed it. For her, this routine is not a hobby or a pleasant ritual. It is a fundamental reality necessary to maintain the instrument her body required for her artistic output.
Consistency, even without joy, is the hallmark of true high performance. We have completed an exhaustive deep dive, moving from the microscopic to the macroscopic. We've seen the necessity of Dave Asprey's deep metabolic flexibility, the non-negotiable role of high protein in muscle maintenance, championed by Dom D'Agostino.
And the foundational requirement of Dr. Justin Sonnenburg's fermented foods to prepare the gut.
Right.
And we've learned how to leverage the recovery system, whether through John Hacker's technological approach to vagus nerve control or by maximizing cognitive performance through Dr. Matt Walker's insights into REM sleep.
And if we connect the dots across all these experts, from Dr. David Hamilton on kindness to Twyla Tharp on discipline, what's a common thread?
They all point toward optimizing the body's natural state of resilience, minimizing chronic inflammation, and maximizing the capacity for both focused effort and genuine connection.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner? It means longevity isn't some complex, inaccessible equation. It is not about chasing the latest high-tech supplement.
Not at all.
It is about establishing profoundly integrated, non-negotiable habits that honor your metabolic needs, your neurological stability, and critically, your social network.
And we must return one last time to that most shocking metric provided by Robert Waldinger and Mark Schultz from the Harvard study, that the quality of your relationships is a stronger predictor of health than your cholesterol levels.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to consider. If social fitness is the key to longevity, what one relationship in your life deserves a strategic investment of focused time, deep attention, and social fitness today?
Invest wisely.
We'll see you on the next Deep Dive.